Welcome to the Deep Dive. Great to have you with us. I'm actually taking a walk through a street here in China right now, and it feels like the perfect setting for what we're diving into today. For our channel, the DragonCruiser, we always look for these stories that really capture, well, the pulse of modern China. And today's topic, it's this mix of incredible efficiency and some really interesting societal conversations. We're focusing on China's high-speed rail system. Specifically through the eyes of an Indian traveler whose experience recently, well, it basically went viral online. Our main source is a really engaging social media post from Indian entrepreneur Abash Bansal, plus all the discussion and the wide range of comments it kicked off.
Exactly. And this is more than just fast trains, right?
Absolutely. It's about what that speed, that infrastructure kind of represents.
So our mission for this deep dive is kind of twofold. First, we'll dig into the specifics of Bansal's journey, what made it so remarkable, the efficiency, the user perks he noticed. Then we'll zoom out a bit, look at the bigger picture, the wider implications, and those different viewpoints that popped up in the online chat around his posts.
It's a fascinating snapshot, definitely. Okay, let's unpack this. So let's start with Abash Bansal's core experience.
Yeah.
He put it as how convenient life in China is. I mean, get this. He traveled 1,600 kilometers total in just one day.
Yeah, 800 kilometers each way.
Right, for a 3-hour meeting. And the kicker, he got home that same night, slept in his own bed.
That turnaround time for that distance is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing for most people, I think.
It really is. And his observations, they really highlight the system's efficiency, don't they?
Absolutely. He mentioned the stations are just massive, huge places, but the process for passengers, super streamlined. You only need to be on the platform like 10 minutes before departure.
10 minutes. Wow.
That's
not the hour-plus buffer we're used to elsewhere?
not at all. And getting in is simple, too. Just scan your national ID or your passport at a scanner.
Okay.
And the gates open on both sides, east and west, helps prevent those big crowds and keeps things moving.
So no massive queues just to get near the train. It sounds almost, well, frictionless.
From his account, yeah, it seems incredibly smooth. And it's not just getting on the platform. The flexibility is another big thing he pointed out.
Flexibility, how so?
Well, say you arrive early. You just go to the counter, and they can often change your ticket to an earlier train, just like that.
Really? That easily? That's pretty rare.
It is. But here's the part that really stood out for me, the bit that shows something deeper about the system.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
The proactive service. He arrived half an hour early, right? Not asking for anything. And a security person actually came up to him, checked his ticket, saw he was early.
Okay.
And then, without Bansal saying a word, took him to the counter to get his ticket changed for a train leaving in 10 minutes.
Wow. He didn't even ask. The staff member just did it.
Exactly. Bansal wrote, "Mind you, I said nothing. This fellow did all this on his own. He could have ignored me."
That's more than just being helpful, isn't it? That speaks volumes.
It does. He called it systematic no nonsense at all. It suggests the system isn't just built for efficiency, it's actively managed for it, anticipating passenger needs, optimizing flow.
Right. It's like designing out the potential problems before they even happen. Very interesting.
It points to a whole operational philosophy, really. Minimize friction, maximize smooth travel.
Okay, so we have this incredible efficiency, smooth operations, even proactive staff. What about the experience itself, like on the train or waiting in those huge stations? What other user perks came up?
Oh, definitely. The perks are a huge part of the appeal. First off, the speed is just, well, impressive.
Right.
There was a comment from Alicia Lobo. She mentioned the Shanghai to Suzhou train. That's 130 kilometers.
Okay.
Covered in just 25 minutes.
25 minutes for 130 kilometers. Wow. That is fast.
Incredibly fast. And usually you think speed like that must cost a fortune.
Exactly. You'd expect a premium price tag. Was it expensive?
That's the surprising part. Alicia Lobo also mentioned the cost for that same trip, about RMB 45.
RMB 45. What's that roughly in, say, Indian rupees?
Roughly INR 500. So about 500 rupees one way.
500 rupees. For that speed?
Yeah.
That's remarkably affordable.
It really is. It challenges that idea that high-speed rail has to be this exclusive thing.
Yeah, makes it accessible. And that speed clearly resonated. There was another comment, kind of humorous, from @Kadai
Yes. They said, crazy speed is speed se to Delhi to Jaipur 1 Ghanta Laj bus, which means with this speed, Delhi to Jaipur would only take 1 hour.
And Delhi to Jaipur is what, about 250 kilometers?
Around 247 kilometers, yeah. So they're imagining that kind of journey in just an hour. And remember, this is the regular high-speed rail we're talking about.
Right, not even the maglev.
Not even the maglev. It sets a really high bar for normal travel speed.
Okay, speed and affordability, check. What else? Comfort, station amenities.
Yes, comfort, too. Even before boarding, Bansal noted the stations have thousands of seating capacity. Plenty of space.
Yeah.
But here's a unique touch. Almost 30% are massage chair.
Massage chairs in the station.
Yeah. Apparently you can pay, I think he said around 100 rupees for a quick massage while you wait.
Get out. A massage while waiting for your train. That's unexpected.
Definitely adds a layer of unexpected comfort and relaxation to the whole process.
So you combine that speed, the affordability, and then these little comfort perks, like massage chairs. It paints a picture of really compelling travel experience, doesn't it?
It really does. It's efficient, it's user-friendly, it's fast, doesn't cost the earth. It's a whole package.
Right, a holistic approach. But, a story like Bansal's, especially when it goes viral, it never just stays about the trains, does it?
No, definitely not.
It inevitably sparks these bigger conversations. Sociopolitical stuff, economic angles. What kind of broader dialogue did his post ignite?
Well, it certainly struck a chord. First, the story got picked up very quickly by dozens of major news outlets in China.
Okay.
And there's context there. Apparently, admiration of China from the Indians is deemed as a national pride these days. So a story like this fits a certain narrative and gets amplified.
Ah, I see. So it tapped into that sentiment.
Seems so. And then in the comments online, you saw this whole range of reactions. For instance, you had viewpoints like economic nationalism. Someone at AdventureWallah commented, "Stop buying from China, instead manufacture in India so in future India might have this infra."
Right. Pushing for domestic development, self-reliance, a common theme.
Exactly. Build it yourself rather than just admiring someone else's.
Makes sense. And then there's that more politically charged comment, wasn't there? The one linking the infrastructure to the political system.
Yes, that one from @Vipul277 and 7. It's important we present this neutrally, just reporting what was said in the source.
Absolutely, just relaying the viewpoint.
So, this comment basically argued, this happens when there is no democracy. They build things without any huddle. Anything coming in way of development is taken away. No one protests for environment and anything. Straight. Make it work the way they want. Result is in front of you.
Okay.
And then it contrasted that with India. Here, for bullet train land acquisition process tools years, oppositions try to halt it in whatever way possible because it will praise govd if they make it.
So the argument is essentially linking China's rapid development speed to a lack of democratic hurdles, like protests or opposition, compared to the challenges faced in, say, India.
Precisely. It frames it as a trade-off. Faster, centralized development versus slower, more contested democratic processes. It's a viewpoint that taps into a long-running global debate about different development models.
Right. A very complex comparison.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these kinds of discussions also brought up other practical questions in the comments.
Like what?
Well, some people implicitly raise the environmental question, at what environmental cost? Building all those huge stations, all those lines, it's resource intensive.
True. The scale is immense.
Others wondered about reliability, like, are these trains always on time? Heard delays happen? Which brings in the operational reality beyond just the ideal experience.
Good points. Sustainability, consistency.
Yeah.
They matter too.
Definitely. And amidst all this, there is also this strong sense of aspiration, particularly from Indian commenters.
Ah, yes. You mentioned that.
Yeah, like the comment from @IndiaFirst. India's bullet train will beat this soon. Just need time and less politics.
Reflects that hope for similar progress and maybe a touch of national competition too.
Exactly. Hope mixed with perhaps a little frustration about domestic obstacles.
So when you pull all these different threads together, the efficiency, the user experience, the media reaction, the economic nationalism, the governance debate, the environmental questions, the aspirations, what does this all mean? What's the takeaway?
I think it really shows us that massive infrastructure projects like this are never just about the concrete and steel, or even the convenience.
Right.
They become these powerful symbols. They act as lightning rods for conversations about everything from economic policy and national identity to governance, sustainability, and what a society prioritizes. Bansal's post just happened to be the spark that lit up all these diverse, sometimes conflicting perspectives.
A single train journey opening up a whole world of debate. Fascinating.
It really is.
And that, I think, brings us towards the end of this deep dive. We've gone from that incredible convenience Abash Bansal experience, that 1,600-kilometer day trip, through the system's efficiency, the perks, and then into these much wider, more complex discussions about development models, national pride, governance, and what the future might hold. It really shows how a simple travel story can touch on so much.
Absolutely. And maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to sort of chew on. How do different societal values, different ways of governing, actually shape the speed and the sheer scale of projects like this? And maybe more importantly, what trade-offs, if any, are kind of implied or maybe accepted when you pursue progress at such a rapid, massive scale?
That's a really provocative question. Definitely something to think about long after this deep dive ends, what trade-offs are involved.
Worth pondering, I think.
Absolutely. And we genuinely love to hear your thoughts on all this. Have you maybe traveled on China's high-speed rail? Or maybe high-speed rail somewhere else? What was your experience? Or what do you make of the bigger discussion? The efficiency versus democratic process debate, the environmental aspects, the aspirations. Let us know in the comments section below. And hey, if you found this deep dive interesting, please do give us a like, maybe share it, and definitely subscribe to the DragonCruiser channel so you don't miss our future explorations. Thanks so much for joining us for another deep dive.